Idi Amin Dada was born in Koboko, Uganda, around 1925, in a remote region near the border with Sudan. His early years were shaped by the rural landscape and the traditions of his Kakwa ethnic group. His exact birth date remains unknown, as official records from that era were often incomplete or lost, especially in remote villages like Koboko. Amin's early life was marked by poverty and, honestly, a lack of formal education. Like many children in colonial Uganda, he had limited access to schooling and spent much of his youth helping his family with daily chores. He joined the King's African Rifles, which was the British colonial army, as a cook's assistant in 1946. This was a common entry point for young African men seeking opportunity and a steady income. Over time, Amin rose through the ranks, eventually becoming a sergeant major. His ambition and willingness to follow orders set him apart from many of his peers. He was known for his large physique, strength, and, well, his boxing skills. Amin even became the heavyweight boxing champion of Uganda, a title he held for nearly a decade, which added to his reputation among soldiers. Amin participated in the suppression of the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya, which really showcased his ruthlessness. He was often chosen for difficult and dangerous missions, earning both fear and respect from his comrades. Amin quickly gained a reputation for brutality and a total disregard for human life. His methods were harsh, and he became infamous for his strict discipline and violent tactics. He was nearly discharged from the army in 1960 due to his excessive use of force during interrogations. His superiors were alarmed by his behavior, but his military skills were undeniable. However, Uganda's impending independence from Britain in 1962 ended up saving his career. The new nation needed experienced African officers, and Amin's background made him indispensable. At that time, Amin was one of only 2 Ugandans to hold the rank of officer, making him a valuable asset to the newly formed Ugandan army. His rise was just beginning, and his influence would soon extend far beyond the barracks. After Uganda gained independence in 1962, the country was filled with hope and optimism. People celebrated in the streets, believing a new era of self-rule and prosperity was about to begin. However, beneath the surface, political tensions and power struggles were already brewing. Idi Amin, a charismatic and ambitious military officer, was appointed deputy commander of the Ugandan army. His reputation for toughness and loyalty quickly made him a prominent figure in the military. He quickly formed a close relationship with Prime Minister Milton Obote, who saw Amin as a valuable ally in consolidating his own power. Amin used this relationship to expand his power and influence within the military, gaining the trust of both soldiers and political leaders. In 1966, Amin was promoted to army commander by Obote, a move that further strengthened his position and authority. This promotion gave him control of the armed forces and, honestly, set the stage for his eventual seizure of power. Amin began to build a loyal base within the army, preparing for what was to come. In 1971, while Obote was attending a Commonwealth conference in Singapore, Amin seized the opportunity and staged a dramatic military coup, taking the nation by surprise. Obote was overthrown, and Amin declared himself president of Uganda, promising stability and change, but his true intentions soon became clear. This marked the beginning of Amin's brutal dictatorship, which would last for 8 years and plunge Uganda into a period of fear, violence, and uncertainty. Idi Amin's rule was characterized by extreme violence, human rights abuses, and frankly, economic mismanagement. He ruled by decree, eliminating political opponents and consolidating his power through fear and intimidation. One of Amin's first acts as president was to order the execution of soldiers loyal to Obote. Amin's regime was responsible for the deaths of an estimated 300,000 to 500,000 Ugandans. He expelled the country's Asian population in 1972, accusing them of economic sabotage. This decision devastated the Ugandan economy. Amin's erratic behavior and human rights abuses led to international condemnation and isolation. In 1978, Idi Amin attempted to annex the Kagera region of Tanzania. This act honestly proved to be his downfall. The Tanzanian army, aided by Ugandan exiles, launched a counteroffensive and drove Amin's forces out of Kagera. The Tanzanian army, along with Ugandan rebel groups, continued their advance into Uganda, eventually capturing Kampala in April 1979. Amin fled to Libya, where he was granted refuge by Muammar Gaddafi. He later moved to Saudi Arabia, where he lived in exile until his death in 2003. Idi Amin's reign left a deep and haunting legacy of trauma and devastation in Uganda, one that still echoes through the lives of its people today. The scars of his rule are visible not only in the memories of survivors, but also in the very fabric of Ugandan society. His brutal dictatorship destroyed the country's economy, shattered its social fabric, and led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people. Families were torn apart, communities uprooted, and generations left to grapple with the aftermath of violence and loss. Amin is remembered as one of the most brutal dictators in African history, a man whose actions left an indelible mark on the continent and the world. His name has become, for many, synonymous with tyranny, human rights abuses, and economic mismanagement. The mention of Idi Amin still evokes fear, anger, and debate among Ugandans and historians alike. Despite his atrocities, Idi Amin remains a controversial figure. Some continue to debate his motives and the impact of his rule, reflecting on the complexities of his legacy. Some view him as a symbol of African resistance against neocolonialism, while others condemn him as a ruthless dictator who brought suffering to millions. The debate over his legacy continues to shape Uganda's national conversation. Regardless of perspective, Idi Amin's story serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the importance of defending human rights for all people, everywhere.